Be honest. As a wrestling fan, there's always been that one wrestler that you just wanted WWE to push to maybe win a world title, but WWE seems to simply refuse. And you're not alone in this. Yes, throughout the years, there have been multiple wrestlers that WWE just simply refused to push when the fans clearly wanted it. To Worthy, well, join us now as Sickomania looks at 5 wrestlers WWE simply refused to push. Number 1, Rusev. Now, before 2017, Rusev had already been with WWE for a couple of years, and while his Russian-Bulgarian brute gimmick was somewhat over, it wasn't close to what would later happen. In September 2017, Rusev would defeat Randy Orton in a match, leading to a celebration the next week on SmackDown, which Rusev would then proclaim that every day was now Rusev Day. Now, the Rusev Day gimmick turned out to be incredibly popular and over with fans, and this called for fans wanting WWE to start pushing Rusev in a respectful manner. Unfortunately, WWE had no plans prior to this to push Rusev, so even with the increasing Rusev Day chants getting louder and louder each week on Raw, WWE would simply refuse to push Rusev. Now fans obviously started to notice this and started hijacking the shows by chanting Rusev Day during multiple wrestlers' matches and segments. Despite this, WWE would still ignore the fans. Rusev himself stated in an interview that WWE would do a few things to counteract the Rusev Day chants. They would put his segments earlier on in the shows so that the Rusev Day chants would stop. They would even try to filter out the Rusev Day chants from the shows. After a few months, the Rusev Day chants would slowly die away, and the craziest thing about this is all fans wanted was Rusev to be placed on a substantial place in the card, and not necessarily in the main event scene. But before we go on, you know what else people refuse to push? Those like and subscribe buttons. So to avoid being one of those people, why don't you go ahead and push those like and subscribe buttons right now? Are you done? Okay, great. Now let's get back to the video. Number 2, Cesaro. Now Cesaro debuted in WWE as Antonio Cesaro way back in 2011 and was instantly pushed, winning the United States Championship from Santino Marella within a few short months. It was during this time that Cesaro just seemed to get insanely over with the audience, with his most popular move being the giant swing. Now the most logical move going on from here would have been to turn Cesaro, who was playing a heel at the time, into a babyface. But instead, WWE decided to start pairing Cesaro with Paul Heyman, as they needed a way to keep Paul Heyman on television, and they felt Cesaro was the right way to do this, which many fans felt wasn't the right decision. Now, speaking on Stone Cold's podcast, Vince McMahon said that the reason that Cesaro wasn't pushed into a big star in WWE was because Vince McMahon felt that Cesaro didn't have the X factor or the charisma to be a big star, which was obviously not true. Now Cesaro would remain relatively over with the audience for the rest of his WWE career, and over the next few years would be paired in a tag team with Sheamus as the bar, and would never ever taste main event status, except for that one push in 2022 where he faced Roman Reigns for the undisputed Universal Championship at Backlash, but by then it was already too late. Number 3, Daniel Bryan. Now the underdog story of Daniel Bryan is well documented. In 2011, after winning the Money in the Bank ladder match and cashing in on Big Show to win the World Heavyweight Championship, Daniel Bryan would then lose the championship at WrestleMania 28 to Sheamus in an 18-second match. Now this seemed to be WWE's way of trying to transfer all of Daniel Bryan's popularity onto Sheamus, but it soon backfired on WWE as fans simply didn't buy it and they were still chanting for Bryan. Now, over the next 2 years, WWE would try to do everything in their power to kill Daniel Bryan's momentum, but every single attempt they made seemed to just get Daniel Bryan more and more over. In 2013, Daniel Bryan would finally win the WWE Championship at SummerSlam, although as we all know, this didn't last long as Randy Orton would eventually cash in. Daniel Bryan was once even the favorite to win the 2014 Royal Rumble, but WWE tried to give fans no hope of this by making sure Daniel Bryan was eliminated early in the match, which was one of the reasons Batista was booed so heavily after winning the match. As we all know, at WrestleMania 13, Daniel Bryan would finally conquer all the odds and defeat Batista and Randy Orton to win the WWE Championship. At WrestleMania 31, fans would again want Daniel Bryan in the main event scene, but the WWE would relegate him to the Intercontinental Championship ladder match, which was somewhat of a settled victory for fans. Now, after this, Daniel Bryan would remain relatively a top guy for the rest of his WWE career before being released from WWE in 2021. Number 4. LA Knight. Now, in late 2022, after LA Knight ditched the Max Stupid gimmick and reverted back to his LA Knight gimmick, he would seemingly get insanely popular overnight. Now, especially after his feud with Bray Wyatt, fans would then want an immediate LA Knight push, but WWE seemed to try to avoid this in every kind of way. They would intentionally leave LA Knight off the WrestleMania 39 card and off the Backlash card, and LA Knight was once even the favorite to win the 2022 and 2024 Money in the Bank ladder matches, but WWE just seemed to not want this to happen. After it became clear that WWE were clearly never going to push LA Knight into the main event scene, fans were happy with LA Knight winning just the US Championship, but WWE still didn't want this to happen. They wanted him to win the Intercontinental Championship, didn't happen. They wanted him to win the Tag Team Championship, didn't happen. They wanted him to win a match, didn't happen. Yeah, basically the WWE didn't want him to win anything. At SummerSlam, it seemed like WWE would finally start listening to fans after placing LA Knight in some kind of pointless Battle Royale just to give him a sort of win. At Crown Jewel 2022, LA Knight would finally be pushed when he faced Roman Reigns for the Undisputed Universal Championship in a match which LA Knight obviously lost. After this, LA Knight would then be regulated back to the mid-card, and it seems like only now are WWE planning on having LA Knight win the US Championship. What do you think? Is WWE finally gonna push LA Knight? Let us know down in the comments. And number 5, Zack Ryder. Now, way back in 2010, Zack Ryder seemed to just be another guy on the WWE roster, but after starting his own YouTube channel and declaring himself the internet champion, Zack Ryder would suddenly get mega over, and fans suddenly started to want to see him get pushed. Now, obviously, WWE had no plans to push Ryder prior to this, so they planned to just simply ignore the fans. But after the fans for Zack Ryder got too loud, WWE finally decided to do something about it. And oh no, it wasn't to push Ryder, it was to bury Ryder. Yes, WWE seemed to try to do everything in their power to signal to fans that Ryder was obviously never going to be a top guy in WWE by burying him in the worst ways possible, even having Kane push him off the stage in a wheelchair. Now, this seemed to work as the Zack Ryder chance finally died out after this, but the craziest thing about this is similar to the Rusev situation. All fans wanted was Zack Ryder to be placed in a substantial role in the card and not necessarily in the main event scene, but it just didn't align with WWE's vision. Well, we've come to the end of our list. Which one of those wrestlers did you want to get pushed the most before WWE refused? Let us know down in the comments. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. But before we go, did you know of the 5 shortest WWE Championship reigns? If you didn't, watch this video, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.